Yeah, welcome back, guys. Behind the screen is goodness. So, our aim in this video is to walk us through on how we can actually implement CSS to our HTML project. Okay, so basically, there are three types of CSS. We have external CSS, we have inline CSS, and we have internal CSS. Okay, now you might be wondering, ah, how is this thing, like how does this thing really work? So that is what I'll be showing you in this video. So I will just have to comment out these codes I have here. Okay, so to comment is control and forward slash. So you just do control and forward slash, it automatically comments out these things here. Now when you comment on a particular line of code, what comment does is to like actually make that code not to be visible in your browser, okay, or make it not to run on your PC or on your machine. So now that I've commented out this code, if I go back to my browser, you see I'm no longer getting it. But now let me just uncomment. Let me just uncomment and show you something. Now I've uncommented. I did to uncomment back is control plus forward slash sign. Okay, just forward slash. So if I go back, you see I'm getting this now. If I comment back, control and forward slash, I go back, I'm no longer getting this. So this is, by the way, I was talking about CSS, the different types of CSS we have. I will repeat myself again. I said we have external CSS. External CSS is the type of CSS that you write outside your HTML file, then integrate it into your HTML again. So let's just take that first approach. So now what I'll be doing is, as we all know how to create new files, but so if I'm to create a new file now, I'm not going to save it with .html as we've been doing, okay? I will save with .css. Alright, so I'll just go back here and I'll click on it and I'll give my CSS a name. Let me just say teach. I'll say teach dot css. Mind you, no longer using .html. But if you check up here, you'll see that the syntax quite changed. It turned to hash instead of the right angle brackets and the left angle brackets, which we use to denote our HTML. Okay, so CSS automatically turns to hash here. So when I go ahead and say enter, now I'm having a new CSS file up here. You can see it turned to hash instead of right angle tag and left angle tag. Okay, so this is it. Mind you, in HTML we're doing, after this I'll then say shift 1 to get me my HTML declarations, but in this case no HTML declarations. Instead, there's what we call selectors. Okay, now what are selectors? Selectors points to the particular HTML elements for styling. Okay, now let's say in this thing I have um so many elements here. Let me just say I have this p tag, okay, and I want to generate a random word for example purpose. So I use lorem to generate a random word. So if I should go to my browser, I'm getting this my random word here. I'm getting it here. Now let's say I want to give a color to this particular p element. Now this, I want to give a particular color to this my element, to this thing. Now I actually want to drag this, but this thing keeps interfering here. I'll just use I'll just have to use this. So let's just say I have this p tag here, and you see I want to give this particular p styling. Let me say I want to change the color from black to green or green to red. So how am I going to do that? First, I have to first integrate this my teach.css into this particular HTML. So how do I do that? I'll come to this tag, this head tag. Inside it, I'll type link. So once I say link, I'm getting link rel style sheet href. Then this href is where I'll be putting the name of this my CSS, which the name of my CSS is teach. Automatically VS Code help me to complete it, and I click enter. Now I've actually achieved this step. Now if I go here, nothing still happens. Okay, so but in few minutes to come, something is gonna happen to this particular p tag, to this p element instead. Okay, so I was talking about selectors. Now selectors, what selectors does is that they point to a particular HTML for styling. Let's say is this p that I want to give a color to. Okay, I'll just come here and type this p here. Okay, the name of that my elements. Okay, so in this case my selector here will be p. I'll just say p. I'll give a little space and I'll put a curly braces. Look at what a curly braces looks like. Look at what a curly braces. Let me zoom my screen so that you can actually see it very well. Yeah. Now let me take it again. I will say shift and curly braces. Curly braces is found beside P on your keyboard. But first you have to hold your shift and press that square bracket in your keyboard. Okay, so I just have to say enter, and I would then pull my declarations. So my declaration here will be color. You see, I'm getting color, and I'm having a column and a semicolon. So in between the column and the semicolon is where I'll pull my value. So I want a color to be red. Alright, so what this simply means is color is a property and red is a value. Okay, so this is it. Now always put your semicolon at the end of any given value, because the essence of this is to like actually separate this whole block of declaration, this declaration from another declaration. Okay, so if I go back to my browser, wow, this actually changed. This actually changed to red. Now let me show you the importance of putting semicolon at the end of your first declaration. I'll then come here and say um let's just increase the font size. Let's just make it bigger. I'll say font size. I'm getting font size, and I will go by um 30 pixels. So let's go back. Wow, this is actually bigger, right? So now the essence of this semicolon at the end of this declaration is, watch, if I delete this, you see I'm getting an error. I'm getting error. If I go here, all my whole styling actually went out, because there's nothing like this in CSS. There's nothing like this. There's nothing like color, semicolon, red font size. No, this doesn't make sense. No, to actually avoid this error, we'll put a semicolon. You see we put a semicolon. Then if I go back, I'm getting this bar. It's working now, but it's not good to write our codes on one line this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually break down from here, and I'll say enter. It looks fantastic this way, right? So this is how we can actually integrate our external CSS into our HTML file. First thing first, you have to link it up here. you now have to link it up here. Link rel, style sheets, href, then the name of your CSS in between the two quotation of href. Alright, so that is that. Now I want to give us another example. This example, I'll be using span. Now, so let me just say I have a short lorem here. I'll just say lorem 10 and I'll say enter. This lorem is quite short. Now I come back, I'm having it up here, not designed. So how am I going to use extend inline or let me say inline or internal CSS to do this? Because this one we use external CSS because we completely wrote the CSS outside of our HTML file. So let me just use inline CSS for this particular example. Okay, so in this span, in between on not in between, sorry, on this open tag of this start tag is where I'll be writing my style, but now it's going to be an attribute. It's more like an attribute. Okay, so I'll just come inside, I'll just say style. Okay, we talked about attributes, so you know what I'm doing. I'll then, in between the two quotation, I'll just come and say color. Okay, color, and I'll say blue. Oh, no, blue. So if I go back and check if this actually works, wow, I'm getting this lorem text. Yeah, it's blue now. Okay, so this, make sure if you want to add any other declaration, make sure it's right after the semicolon. Please don't make the mistake. I'll then say font size again, and I will see 40 pixels. So let me check this. Wow, I'm getting it. It's working. So now let's quickly move over to internal CSS. So now to do that, I will come in between the end tag of my head and in between the first tag of my body. I'll just say enter and I will say style. Now it's assumed that this whole place is actually my CSS. Now then I'll then come here just like we did, put my selector. Now let's say I have another element called div. Now what div means, div is what div is a kind of a container to hold our block elements. Okay, so I'll just come in this div. I have this short text and I'll then come here and call div, put my curly braces, and I'll say color, and I'll say this. So I go back, I'm getting it here. I'm getting it here. Absolutely beautiful. Look at it here. So I've actually shown us how we can use these different CSS in our HTML file. So it's up to you to choose the one you love most, but I'll recommend you go for the external CSS. So that is it for this video. Make sure you put your review on the comment section, please, so we can actually know how to improve better. I love you all. Bye.